Colin here, and welcome back to Fight for Truth,
this is Tucker
the
Carlson
channel where we bring you Christian commentary about the things that matter. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Tucker Carlson. Recently, Tucker has been saying some things that I think all Christians need to be aware of. You see, most people know him as merely a conservative TV host who has a tendency of being controversial. But in this video, I'm going to
What did you think of the Tucker Carlson Tate interview?
It was good. It was good. It was two guys having a conversation. And, you know, being able to ask questions and letting, you know, the guest actually answer versus, you know, God damn it, the British guy.
Oh, Piers Morgan.
Versus Piers Morgan asking a question and then like not letting the person answer.
Right. Did you see even Elon started supporting the Tristan interview? Tucker Carlson dropped the interview with Tristan, and Elon Musk said, like, this is very interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
nice.
So Elon Musk is starting to, and you see they're starting to pay out money on X or Twitter. I got my first payout. Pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah. So which it seems like it has the potential to become a real YouTube competitor.
Yeah.
If you're doing ad revenue, there's like the first website that's really paying out.
It
like
should,
that,
bro.
So
That's
big.
You know, you gotta, these other platforms gotta step up and like come in here, because like at the end of the day, like, you know, YouTube is censoring all over the place, and it's just like, bro, come on, man.
I think that X has
and you know what, the competition will make them better. Rumble, Twitter, etc. When all the social media platforms compete, it's like, okay, shit, like we need to be on our game.
Threads already fell off immediately. I'm glad that Twitter got to destroy that. Did you even have Threads?
I didn't have it. No,
I
knew it was a waste of time.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I'll take advantage. People got mad at me, but like, I have very limited platforms. I might as well take advantage.
Show you that Tucker Carlson is changing. Something's going on here, and we need to find out what it is. So let's get right into it. Check out this clip of Tucker being interviewed at a Blaze Media Summit. Watch this.
Well, I'm clinging to the hope that elections still matter. I really want to believe that, because I'm American in a very fundamental way. And so I believe in the actual mechanics of democracy, like the people should rule, you know. But leaving aside even elections, I think it's clearly a pivot point in history, and I don't think the issues that we debate and really are in some ways distractions are the core issues at all. I mean, there are forces, unseen forces acting on people.
Now, I want you guys to understand how monumental that statement is. This is Tucker Carlson.
You're basically saying elections are rigged.
Yeah.
Which you can't really say on mainstream news.
Yeah.
A man who has spent virtually his entire career as a political commentator, deeply involved with our electoral system. And yet here he is saying in front of thousands of people that the so-called election issues we've been debating all this time are distractions from the real issues we're facing. And more than this, Tucker says that there are, quote, unseen forces acting upon people behind the scenes. This tells me that he's starting to get it. He's starting to understand what this has all been about. But let's listen to Tucker explain how he's been coming to these conclusions and really what changed his mind. Watch this.
And I thought, well, I'm just going to read the Bible. And no, I'm not going to do a Bible study. I'm a Protestant, so I feel like I have a right to kind of read it myself. And I'm sorry, I feel that way. And so I've been reading it since February, and I'm like about halfway done. And I haven't talked to anyone about it, and I haven't been just been myself reading it. And I've it's like the most interesting thing I think I've ever done, actually. It's unbelievable. The amount of drama in those books that has been hidden from me as a regular churchgoer in the Episcopal Church. Like, wait, why didn't you never mention this? This is like unbelievable. What?
Have you read the Bible or the Quran?
The Quran, yes. The Bible, no. Not in full, the Quran. I've read parts of it, obviously, because you got to memorize surahs, but the Bible, no. But I am going to start reading it, because I don't know much about like Christianity. I know some things, but like not that much. I
wanted to, Chad, I know L attention span, but I wanted to bring this up with Myron. I was talking about this with Sartoro today. Yeah, did you see, there's a passage, I don't know if it's a hadith or the Quran, but Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that he saw hellfire, and the majority of the dwellers of hellfire are women. The majority of the dwellers of fire are women. And the passage is about, upon hearing this, some women became pessimistic, and he said, I was shown hell. I saw that most of its inhabitants were ungrateful women. The prophet was asked, were they ungrateful to Allah? He replied, they were ungrateful to their husbands and for the favors and the good done to them. If you show benevolence to one of them, and then she sees something in you not to her liking, she will say, I have never seen any good in you. So basically the majority of hell, based on the prophet, peace be upon him, are ungrateful women. Or all the women that you debate on the panels all the time that make all these demands, stuff like that. I don't know if you've experienced that, but like the majority of my female relationships, I've always kind of had this frustration, this anger, like these women are giving me problems and they're giving me all this attitude and they're not appreciative of everything that I'm giving them. Like trips, like the fact that I have this nice apartment, driving them, taking out to dinners, like the fact that I know people and they still find something to complain about. And then you look at the Quran and you're like, this is the majority of the people burning in hell. And it's kind of like, it gives you a little bit of peace.
Solace. Bro, I mean, I'm not surprised, man. It really is, bro. We all know that women a lot of times aren't appreciative of anything because they always want more. It's not easy to please them. Like a dude, for example, right? A guy, let's be honest, if we didn't have women, you would live in a regular fucking apartment, one TV on the floor, a bed on the floor, and you'd be chilling and you'd be happy.
PS5, no furniture.
Like no furniture. Like men are easily happy. It's women that want all this extra shit.
Women come to my apartment are like, why didn't you decorate? Like you put so much more stuff.
It's so plain.
I don't need. It's nice. Like what else do I need? I don't need to have all this stuff in here. It's all for you. But that's
hypergamy. Hypergamy keeps them in a perpetual state of unhappiness. It's needed for their survival. If you really think about it.
Do women have souls, Myron? Or are they just a reflection of whatever masculine entity is programming them?
That's a deep question. Yeah, they're basically a byproduct of whatever has the strongest influence in their life. They're basically clay. It's the truth. Like if a girl comes from a good household, right, etc., has a strong brother, strong father, etc., she's gonna have good values, and that comes from her being molded appropriately by some kind of masculine authority. Or if there's no masculine authority, society's going to mold her. And then you end up with these fucked up girls that we have now. So with city girls, etc., because they're molded by society. And what does society tell women? Be hoes, be promiscuous, etc.
So could we blame those women that make up the majority of hell from the fact that, like, if they are clay and they're just programmed by other entities, is it really their fault for being ungrateful cunts?
It's a good question. Because on one end, they're sentient beings who are able to make their decision, but on the other hand, they're influenced by the strongest, force in their life, which if it's not a strong, virtuous man, it's going to be some fucked up creature. So, like nowadays in society, music, pop culture, making money, all the bullshit. So that's an interesting question.
I wonder if this is their fault, because I think a common idea that I see, like when you go down the rabbit hole, is that women operate like children.
They do, and
you don't really blame children.
It's the father's fault, but so it's on a man.
So why is the majority of hell not made up of those bad fathers? Why is it made up majority women who are burning in hell? Maybe
as some way the women, like the guy raised her right, and then she just ended up being fucked up later on.
Women, when compared to men, are more for that reason. For one, we'll find that they are the majority in the fire as well as in paradise. Oh, so they're the majority in paradise as well. This is proven through a hadith which the Prophet said, from among the portents of the hour are the following: men will decrease in number and women will increase in number, so much that 50 women will be looked after by one man.
Well, there are more women than men in the world.
Yeah, but not 50 to 1. That's a crazy.
No, that ratio is not there yet, but if we keep going the way that we're going, who knows?
Initially, the majority of the women will be in the fire, then they will be taken out and shall enter paradise. Oh, wait, you can leave hell and enter paradise?
Yeah, everyone ends up going to paradise after some period. Even like, Christians and Jews, everybody.
So it's not eternal fire.
If you're a person of the book, you'll eventually go to paradise. Even the Jews.
Yeah, I know. People of the book can go to heaven.
Yeah.
And most of them will deserve the fire, but Allah will forgive them, and thus they will be the majority in paradise. Okay, but initially they're all burning in hell for being ungrateful.
You ungrateful whore! Yeah, well, stay here for 100 years, and then now you're ready to go back up.
Reading this does give me more comfort. It's more like, okay, at least they're going to be punished for everything they're doing to destroy the lives of men in real time.
I mean, bro, if you look at it, female nature is inherently demonic to a degree.
Why?
Think about it. They're designed to extract resources from you, but it's for a noble reason, but it's still a terrible act. Like, they're designed to extract resources from you for the next generation of children. And women don't really give a fuck about men. They care about themselves and their children, which I get it. You know what I mean? Like, you have to, if you're going to continue the lineage of human beings, you have to care more about, you know, your offspring than the man that gave you what you needed to create the offspring.
They're resource extractors.
They're literally resource
like
extractors.
the Dementors in Harry Potter that come in and suck your soul.
They're like, these bitches are, you know, first stage Cell, bro. Just like with the tail, boom, point. You ever seen Cell, Dragon Ball Z?
No.
Niggas in the chat know what I'm talking about. He has this big ass tail and this pointy thing, and how he would gain his energy is he would like stab them with the fucking tail and then suck them dry.
Like Kirby.
These bitches are all not even Kirby. Cause, well, if you're a strong guy, she'll suck you in and then steal your identity. But with this with a lot of these chicks, they just first stage Cell, just tail in, drain you dry, and then out, and then go to the next person.
So women are demonic. Well, at least they'll be punished for that.
Yeah. I would say they're more they're way more selfish than men are, way more narcissistic than men are, way more solipsistic than men are. Like, that's, I always laugh when girls say, "Oh, men are narcissists." No, bitch, you're a fucking narcissist. Most of these girls are narcissists. Look at their Instagrams.
Yeah. All women are succubus. Thanks. All it takes is one bad father to mess up his 5 daughters. That is maybe why there will be more women. But also in the Quran, it does say that the father who raises 3 daughters will be protected from the hellfire in the afterlife. So it's like basically saying, like, yeah, I know you didn't have the sons you wanted to have, but if you protect your 3 daughters, we'll give you a shield from the fire.
Yeah, because that shit sucks. They know how tough it is.
Mr. Marr, thanks for the 10. So basically, hell will be a huge fresh and fit after hours. But instead of being grilled by Myron, they will be
agree with by Satan and Destiny.
Well, instead of being grilled by Myron, they'd be grilled by the fire. I think that's a better way to put it. But yeah, let's get back to this video.
They said Destiny's gonna be there too.
So what changed Tucker's mind?
Well, I mean, based on if you buy the books, like, yeah, it is.
Yeah, homosexuality is banned. So, all right, fair enough.
On these things. Scripture. Actually reading the Word of God and believing what it says. Imagine that. The Word of God is living and active, powerful and effective. Hebrews 4:12. And this speech from Tucker is just one of millions of practical examples that we could cite in favor of this point. But also, notice that Tucker says there's a lot of biblical text that he was totally unaware of, despite being around Christianity for his whole life. Now, to be fair,
most Christians I know haven't read the Bible.
I believe it.
I know haven't. Most Catholics, they grow up in catechism, but they haven't opened up the book. But there's a lot of good knowledge that, like, reading that was like, wow, like, this actually makes sense, and it really made me feel better. Like, okay, at least they're gonna burn.
This is because the Bible is a big book, and it's hard to be intimately familiar with all of it. But another reason for this is that many modern churches don't really preach the Word anymore. No. And that's terribly sad. Tucker is reading the Bible, and he's saying to himself what many of us have been saying for years when we discover an often neglected scripture. Why is nobody talking about this? How did I not know this? You see, despite the fact that the Bible tells pastors to teach the Word faithfully, 1 Timothy 4:13, most churches these days are offering a short weekly self-help motivational TED Talk instead of robust teaching about the Word of God, and it really shows. This is why it's so important to actually read the Word, as Tucker is saying here. And it's equally important to join a church that cares more about being biblical and truthful than about being entertaining. Now, in this next clip, Tucker's perspective really starts to take shape, and you're going to...
It's interesting because with Islam and Christianity, like, they agree on a lot of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even in the Quran it says that women are made from the rib.
Yeah.
And so the rib is bent. Yep. And so if women are made for the rib, you can't, if you try to bend the rib to make it straight, it's just going to break. So there's no point in trying to change a woman. You just have to accept the rib for what it is.
Yeah, being crooked and stupid.
Yep, that's what it is. A rib is crooked. So basically, like, the Quran says that women are naturally crooked. They come from the rib. I didn't know that. I thought the rib thing was just Christianity.
Yeah, I mean, bro, think about it. Like, they bleed once a month for like a week. That's a punishment.
That's demonic, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the God punishes them for being the way that they are. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? But yeah, Christianity and Islam agree on a lot of similarities. Really, the biggest thing that there's a disagreement on is they believe in 3 gods. Three
in one. I would say the giant one is that Jesus is talked about so much in the Quran. I was reading a lot about Jesus today. The main difference is just that we disagree on the divinity of Jesus.
Yeah, we don't look at him as a god.
Like in the Quran, it actually says
he's a prophet.
He's a prophet, but peace be upon him. They're saying, like, how could Jesus be the son of God if God never had a wife? Like that the Quran says that word for word, which I think that there's a really good argument there.
Yeah.
But also, he's basically saying how the church right now is trying to be like a motivational TED Talk.
Yeah, they're trying to be more palatable.
They're trying to be
for
like,
the masses.
It's like how jazz is trying to be like quirky with the drums, and now they're trying to modernize it.
Oh, really? Jazz?
Jazz is like every like thing old. They're trying to TikTokify it for the new generation. The one thing that stayed consistent, the Majid is boring. Like you can't go in there with the mindset I'm going to be entertained by like a guy sitting backwards on a chair. People are there to actually learn the book, which I really like. And I don't think in Islam there's any of that idea like let's do the giant theater.
No, never will.
None of that.
Never will.
I don't want to hear it. Watch this.
But the two things I have come away with after reading the entire New Testament, and I'm up to Deuteronomy in the Old Testament, it's like maybe the point is that God takes people who are not perfect people, not only not perfect people, like they're so imperfect again, I don't think I can have dinner with them, and uses them for these grander purposes. That's the first thing I noticed. The second thing I notice is that people, while they have free will, of course, and they can make decisions and they live with the consequences of those decisions, they're not really in charge of the arc of history at all. They are being acted upon a lot.
Amen.
Okay? And I never really appreciated that because I'm American, and so I grew up with this feeling that we're the sum total of our choices. Well, that's not what I'm reading at all. Yeah, people's choices matter. You need to do certain things and not do other things. On the other hand, you are not in charge. You are being acted upon by a world you can't see. And that, by the way, is consistent with my life experience.
Now, this is a tremendously important point. Please pay attention. In fact, this might be the most important point he makes. We think often pridefully in our lives, especially in the political realm, that we are masters of our own universe, as it were. That if we just had better content, better platforms, better arguments, better community organizing, etc., that we could create the world in the way we want it. But Tucker is saying the exact opposite. He's saying that yes, our choices matter and they will affect the world around us, of course. And yet, we are still not in control fundamentally. God is. See Psalm 115, verse 3. This is huge. Here we have literally one of the most famous political figures in the United States talking about the importance of reading your Bible and the truth of God's sovereignty. It's incredible. This is a big moment, and I don't want us to miss it as Christians. And even more than this, let's listen to Tucker take his point even further. Watch this.
I feel like it's really important to approach politics with that in mind. Like, a lot of these issues are symbols of this much larger battle.
So what's the end game here? Well, according to Tucker, we need to approach politics with these things in mind, because they're just, quote, symbols of a larger battle that's taking place.
Basically, he's saying that it's bigger than just right versus left. There's a spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
What have you noticed about that from years of doing after hours? That's what I've always, it's like been this underlying theme, I think. We're talking about things like body count or what you want in a relationship. Seeing the sinister nature of a lot of what they believe and not knowing where it comes from. I think I realized, like, watching after hours and that type of content, like there's actually something spiritual going on where they're corrupted to believe in things that are evil.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you talk with an average chick, what is she going to give you? Like a bunch of bullshit astrology and, you know what I mean? Like the girls will be identify more with like astrology and the moon signs versus like having like any semblance of any type of religious purpose. You know, they might have never picked up a religious text in their life, but they're over here believing in astrology. Oh, I behave the way that I do because I'm a Gemini. You fucking moron.
This is very stupid. And they're like, why would you put faith into something that you could never see? Well, you've never seen anything that says that astrology is real, but you believe in that blindly. You've never seen anything that shows that the earth is round, but you believe in that blindly.
You think the world's flat?
The earth is flat, man.
You think so?
I mean, the Quran doesn't say it specifically. There's a lot of arguments. A lot of Muslims do believe. It does say it's spread thin like a carpet, but I think the interpretation, it's not, in Islam, we don't really believe it's important to figure that out, but
why do you think that they would? Okay, fair enough. Instead of me sitting here like trying to challenge your viewpoint, what do you think the benefit would be to lie to the people and tell them
to separate us from God? To think that there's a vast emptiness. Like when we're kids, I think a lot of us have had this moment where you're like laying down looking at the stars with your friends, and then you think like, oh, we're just like a speck of nothing and like everything, and you start thinking about aliens and how insignificant you are. People have this existential conversation about how small and insignificant we are because we think that everything goes on. I think that's the quickest way to convert people to atheism, to think that everything goes on forever. But one of the core like beliefs in the Quran and the Bible is that like God is watching over us and we are God's creation, which means that I don't think that aliens are real either.
You don't think so?
I don't think the universe is as big as they make it out to be. I think when you think that you're a speck of nothingness, that's when you start thinking that nothing matters, because we're just a speck of nothing and we're just on a spinning ball going through. That's the quickest way to push people to nothingness.
Okay. So what is your argument then? And I'm just trying to understand here. I'm not even trying to debate this or argue this, because I've always like been interested in like what flat earthers, like where their mindset comes from, like why they think. So you think it's propaganda to prop up and push atheist beliefs.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. What do you why? So what do you say to all the scientific information that says, oh no, there's other galaxies and we have proof of other life out there? Do you think it's just a big ass lie? You think the scientists are lying?
I think that they're waiting until probably next year to when they can start introducing aliens. I think that aliens are just demons.
Okay.
I think that they're trying to separate our connection to God, because God created us in his image. So I don't believe that aliens are real. And a lot of these, like, people talk about all the science and this, like, I haven't seen it. Everybody that believes in like globe Earth hasn't seen that science. There's nothing that you could tell me definitively to prove that. Like,
so do you not believe in the moon landing either?
No, I don't
No, you don't think so?
I don't think so. Absolutely not. I think that there's a lot of proof that it was directed, and there's a lot of goofy things about that. And even you could see the Armstrong guy, like he's asked by a little girl, like, did you actually land on the moon? And the guy's like gone insane since then. There's a lot of fishy stuff. A lot of fishy stuff about that. I don't.
And so you think?
Why haven't we gone back? And why can't we go with an HD camera? Why can't we go? Since then, we only have this like grainy footage from 1969.
Okay. So what would you say to like, because like Russia and all them also claim they landed on the moon. You think that was all just kind of a psyop to prove like international superiority over each other?
Yeah, it was part of the Cold War. We're going back and forth to flex like global power. It's a good way to convince the mass population that they have ultimate control.
Okay. Yeah. All right. No, I mean, I could definitely see. That's a very interesting standpoint, that the round Earth and the galaxy and the UFOs, etc., is all propaganda to push atheism. I never looked at it like that. So that's interesting, man.
Oh, it was Buzz Aldrin. It wasn't Armstrong who that crazy.
Okay,
dude, but yeah.
That's interesting.
I think he's talking to a certain extent about.
I think the good thing too is that like. My thing is like, if someone talks about something that like I'm not like super versed in, I like to hear their perspective and like, okay, well, tell me why you think that. I think people need to have more discussions like that where they're open-minded and listen to other perspectives and like, okay, you know what? I'm going to look into that shit. So like now I'm going to like research some stuff and look into it. Like I think it's very important to be inquisitive and listen to other people's viewpoints, right? And look at it for yourself versus like attacking them like, no, that's wrong, you're stupid. Like, no, tell me why you think like that. And I think if more people applied that mindset, they'd be smarter.
Immediately, like that's why, like if people actually gonna press me about flat Earth, I'm be like, I'm just joking. Like I don't actually believe.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm gonna.
But you legitimately do, and you think it's. I see your perspective.
I mean, we can't really. You can only travel to Antarctica based off a boat. Like you have to fly to some island. I think that there's an ice wall around the entire world, and that's the end.
Okay.
Because you can't travel. Like, why are we not able to freely fly over Antarctica? A lot of pilots are flat earthers. If you actually in real life, they're like, yeah. Every time you look out at a plane, like if you hold a tennis ball, for example, this is like. People are going to call this, if you hold a tennis ball, where's the flat part? Basketball, where's the flat part on the basketball? There's no flat part. Why, like you look outside, you look out of a plane window, you look at any picture, like any zoom lens, it's flat forever and ever and ever. But there's no flat point on any other ball.
Okay.
And why do people blindly put faith into aliens? Like atheists always believe this. Like, aliens are real, aliens are real. They're so quick to put blind faith into aliens and creatures that they've never seen and science that they've never looked at, but they can't put faith into God. In the creation of the universe. Atheism has no explanation for how everything was created.
What would you say for people that believe in religion but also believe that there's other life out there besides us?
I mean, they're just going against the text.
Does the text say that there's only human beings? I thought the Quran mentioned that there's life that there's life everywhere.
Everywhere meaning
it's ambiguous, you know.
Yeah,
it's with a lot of religious texts. It's very.
Do religious people also believe in aliens to that extent? I've
seen people that like say they'll never explicitly say that, but they'll be like, hey, yeah, we're you know, there's life all over.
People are saying they can't go to Antarctica because of harsh conditions. Come on. Mr. Martin, thanks for the Tony. Darwinism, feminism, evolution, satanic influence, powers that control the world, sexual equality, losing religion, delaying childbirth, destroying marriage, hurting children, all hate for God. Yep. Yeah. Every single side goes like, I think it all goes back to atheism because that's the easiest way to control people. If they believe that nothing matters and that they're insignificant, then they'll need to believe in something and they end up believing the powers that be. You give the power of God to these people that don't care about you instead. You give the power of God to people in suits in an office.
I agree. It is much easier to control people when they're godless. Absolutely. That's 100% true.
Thump, thanks for the 20. An infinite universe proves God is infinite and creates more than Holy Earth. Thank you, man. Myron reminds me of one of my uncles who was a mullah. What's that?
Mullah, I don't know.
I have some decent from northern part of Nigeria, which really have hardcore Islamic beliefs.
Okay.
I think he's called hardcore. I don't know.
Spiritual warfare. As Christians, we know that we don't battle flesh and blood fundamentally. At the deepest level, we battle spiritual forces that affect the physical world. See Ephesians 6:12. Politics.
You know what's really funny too? I was just in New York and was at this after party, and I was sitting on the balcony having a cigarette. I know, cigarette, blah blah blah. But it's like it's like literally 5 a.m. and the sun's coming up, and I'm giving there's some girls there, and they're like, hey, blah blah. I'm start talking to them whatever, and I give them some cigarettes and we're chatting. So I think they had a vague idea of who I was, and some other people come over, big fan, blah blah. And they start talking. What do you do? Oh, I stream. Oh, he's the controversial guy. Then people start talking. I created a circle on this balcony. It's 5 a.m. And then someone asked me what's your most controversial opinion? I'm like, Earth's flat. And then they go, what? And then all these astrology girls get mad. Astrology!
You should have mentioned them boys. That would have really got
No, absolutely not. I'm not gonna. I'm not. No more than boys for a while.
Yeah.
No. But I start talking about that, and they get really upset. And after a while, I'm having friendly conversation with them. But as soon as I bring up flat Earth, they got so mad. One's like, "You fucking ass!" They're walking away. I just gave them a cigarette. They're like, "Fucking asshole!" I literally didn't. I said, explain it just how I did to them. And then one's like, all you do is suck Trump and Tate's dick. All you do is suck Ye's dick. And I'm like, what? You were acting like you didn't know who I was, and now you're saying that all you do is suck Ye, Trump, and Tate's dick. And they yell at me.
These are females?
Yeah, 3 women. Yep, and exactly the women who are going to burn in hell. Ungrateful. I gave you a cigarette, good conversation, I'm making you laugh. You liked me, and then I talk about flat Earth, and they get all mad. They say, I work in tech, and it's actually really offensive how you're going to... L-stream. How you're gonna undermine my science, and how you're gonna I'm like, are you offended? No, but I'm hurt. And I'm like, it's 5 a.m. talking about flat Earth. This is a dumb.
Instead of her saying all this stupid shit, what she should have said was okay, well, this is why I disagree with you. XYZ.
No, they got really heated, pointing at me and all that stuff.
But to make ad hominem attacks and just talk shit doesn't bro, so fucking.
And I explained it exactly, and I'm in that moment. I'm like, yeah, they're gonna burn in hell because it's the ungrateful, the girl who took 2 cigarettes from me and walked away, and I didn't say anything mean. She's like, fucking asshole, and
then they knew who the fuck you were because they mentioned all this other shit.
And they acted like I didn't, and they acted like I'm just here just trying to talk. But that's the type exactly the conversation when I'm like, maybe I shouldn't go.
You're
back
nicer than me, man. I would have been like, you stupid ass bitches, fuck y'all.
Why didn't? There's just so many. I'm in
yeah, I get it.
I'm in New York.
You were nice about it.
But what they really want...
liberal women are literally scum, bro. They're literally scum, bro. I fucking hate these bitches. And you know what's funny? Those are the girls that want a conservative guy the most. Those are the girls that complain the most about men going half on dates, not being men, not fucking treating them like a lady. Those are the ones that bitch the most about guys not being chivalrous.
Yeah, because they feel disgusted by liberal men.
I'll put it down.
But there was 2 other interactions. So I was wondering a lot, if I go back to New York, what's going to happen? I want to tell you about the other ones. I'm preparing for the 1 minute podcast. I have to get a bodyguard now, but he's not there yet. Whatever. So I'm walking to a store to get the giant sign, and then I'm walking into the store, and then I pass by these 2 liberal women or whatever. I didn't really get a good look at them, and they get 20 feet away, and then I hear them say, "Is that fuck SNEAKO? Fuck that guy!" I'm like, what? I've never heard that in public before.
You know what's funny? I was at Chipotle the other day. And I'm there, and I'm with a chick too. This is last week, and I'm getting my food, and then a girl's about to walk out. You know the Chipotle, they have the handicap exit there at the Chipotle. You know what I'm talking about? There's 2 entrances, right? She looks at me, and then she looks again, and then I hear her, and I'm at the checkout thing. So and I hear her say, "Is this you?" And I well, who the fuck is she talking? And I turn around, and she has her phone like this, and it's a TikTok or a short reel or some shit. And I was like. And I couldn't see because my vision sucks from a distance. I was like, but then I heard my voice. I was like, oh yeah, that's me. And she was like, fuck it, you're misogynist.
She said that?
And she walked out. And I was like, and she was with some dude. So I was like, yeah, you're a dumb fucking feminist. That's why. And I just screamed that right back to her. You're a dumb fucking feminist. And I looked at the guy and I was like, if you fucking come in here, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you in front of everybody.
You said that?
No, I stared at him down when I said that. I stared at him down.
What did he do?
He didn't do shit.
Yeah.
He didn't do shit. Because obviously I'm not going to fucking attack her. But I'm like, yeah, and you're a dumb fucking feminist. And I looked him dead in the eye when I said that shit. And he was like, and he walked away. And here's the thing too. This is, because we talked about this with Andrew, right? Women will literally get you fucking killed, bro. Right? Like, let's say I was on some demon time, right? And I walked out there and followed. I was like, "What'd you say, bitch?" And and I gave her the equality she wanted. Boom, slapped her, and then looked at the guy like, "What the fuck you want to do?" Right? And I'm a crazy person.
Fight for her.
And I'm a fucking crazy person.
Podcast.
And I had my gun on me too when I did that shit. Yeah. Right? Like when I was there at the Chipotle, I carried my gun everywhere. So let's say I was a fucking crazy person, and I go attack her, and then I'm like, "What the fuck you want to do?" Now he's in a compromising situation because of a female want to open her mouth and be an emotional retard. Women will literally get you killed. Andrew told me this one story I remember on the show, where it was like a late night and they're getting food at the spot in London, and the girl that he's with is there with him, and then like these guys, right, cut the line, and she's about to say, "Oh, what the fuck?" He's like, "Shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up," and then another girl mouths off.
3 roadmen.
Yeah, another girl mouths off up in the line. And before she can finish her sentence, bang, they hit her and they knocked the fucking guy out too that she's with.
And the guy died, right?
And yeah, they fucked him up. They literally knocked her ass out and then knocked his ass out and bam, called out on the street because the girl
got back in the car
wanted to open her fucking mouth.
Yep.
So women will literally get you killed if you don't have them in check. But like in my head, like it snapped. And the chick that I was with is like, "What the fuck is wrong with that bitch?" That was cringe. And everyone at the Chipotle was like, "What the fuck is wrong with this chick?" And it was like some fucking liberal white girl with like flare bell bottom pants. And it was very clear she wasn't from Miami. She was just here visiting. Right. But yeah, dude, like she was like, is this you? And I like looked and I couldn't even see. I had to squint my eyes. But then I heard my voice and I was like, "Yeah, that's me." And she's like, "Misogynist." I'm like, "Fuck you, you dumb feminist." And then her guy was like,
"Yeah, I don't really feel the need to respond." Like when they said, "Fuck SNEAKO," I'm like, she just wants attention. Like,
yeah, but bro, like women annoy me. So I was like, fuck you, bitch. And I was hoping the guy would do something, but he's a bitch. So whatever.
There was another one.
Cause that's like super rude. I'm in public, like I'm fucking checking out my food. Like, why the fuck you, bitch? Like what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, yeah, I don't know. Then maybe I need to control my anger a little bit more. But I was like
I don't let stuff like that get me heated. It doesn't really happen often. It only happened in New York. There's another instance. I'm in the woman.
And in my head, you know what's the crazy part? Like in my head, I was like, okay, now the dude that you're with is gonna suffer the consequences of you being a dumb bitch. Like that's where my mind was at when she said that shit. Because I was like, you fucking disrespectful piece of shit.
Oh, you thug.
Your dude is about to get fucked up now because you want to open your mouth.
You're still. How long ago was this?
This was like a week ago.
Oh, okay. You still like heated about it.
Yeah, because like it was just so like uncalled for. And I'm tired of like. Here's the thing: like these people that like disrespect people like that openly in public, like they've never been slapped in the face. Like the reason why they behave like that is because they haven't faced physical consequences. I would never ever heckle somebody out in public ever.
Right.
Like you need to get punched in your face to learn a lesson. So since I can't punch you, he's gonna suffer the consequences now. So hopefully he can take your dumb ass back home and maybe give you the Sean Connery like bitch bong. Hit you, like let you know that you're a fucking retard. What are you doing? You just put both of us in danger. Obviously, I'm not a weirdo, but let's imagine I was. Yeah. Imagine I was some crazy guy and I followed them out. So what the fuck did you say, bitch? And then hit his ass. Because it's happened. You see it on World Star all the time. Dude gets beat up because their girl wants to open her mouth.
Yeah.
Guys that are watching the show, if you're with a chick that's mouthy, that likes to say shit like that, drop her, bro. She will literally get you killed.
She will.
She will get you killed. Obviously, like I played it off. I was really calm, right? I didn't like scream. I was just like, you're a dumb fucking feminist. But I was calm about it. But like, let's say I was a hothead, guys.
You are kind of a hothead, Myron.
Yeah, but I controlled it there. Yeah, okay. I controlled it in that situation. I'm talking now on the stream with y'all, but like I was like, old Myron would have maybe said some other shit, but like, no, I obviously like controlled it.
You would have Frank Castled it from the Chipotle.
I controlled it. Yeah, I controlled it.
Put your shoes on outside the Chipotle.
Yeah, but bro, can you imagine? Like, dude, girls will literally get you killed, bro.
So I'm doing the 1 minute podcast.
Anyway.
And then people ask me for pictures, whatever. And then I see this liberal come up and she's wearing a mask on her chin. So I'm like, all right, sign. She has the Destiny hair and she's got a nose ring. And then she's like, can I get a selfie? I'm like, well, I need girls so that you come sit down to do the podcast. So, and then I'll give you a picture. No, I just want the picture. I'm like, no, I'm not going to just like take your selfie. For one, I know you're not a fan.
Yeah.
Like, Abby, look at you. Like, it's just, and then no, if you're not going to give me what I want, I'm not going to give you what you want. So just, no, bye. And then she walks away.
What did she want from? She
wanted a selfie.
No, but what did you want from her?
Come sit down on my podcast.
Okay.
Like, come do the 1 minute podcast.
Yeah.
Talk for a minute. I'll give you a selfie. Like, equal exchange, right? She walks away, whatever. I'm not going to give her. And then as she's walking, she's like 30 feet away. Fuck Andrew Tate. And I'm like, what? So this bitch was trying to, like, she wanted a selfie. She wanted clout from me, but was a hater the entire time. And not only did she not have the courage to say it to my face, she waited till she's far away and she was like, fuck it. Like, she's flipping off the camera. Unfortunately, we didn't film it. But it's just like, of course you would say that. But this is why, like, the old me probably would have been like, oh yeah, take a picture. No, like you clearly don't like me. You clearly just want a little bit of attention. I'm not gonna, if it's not an equal exchange, bye.
Controversial take. More women need to get punched in the face. Yeah, I fucking said it.
Bro, now, that's the first time I heard you say that.
Like, yo, you know what? I'm going to fucking say it. More women need to get punched in the fucking face. And I'm going to tell you why. It would make the world a better place.
Why?
All right, before they clip this shit and put it out of context.
This is clipped already.
Yeah, they're going to clip. Yeah, whatever. But the reason why more women need to get punched in the face is so that they can understand that there's physical consequences to disrespecting people. Okay? I'm not saying I'm going to be the one that punches them in the face, but I think there needs to be some kind of, equalizer, maybe a female or some shit, that's always ready with boxing gloves that fucking socks girls when they do stupid shit. Because here's the difference between men and women. Men understand that there's an unspoken potential of violence, so they don't brazenly disrespect each other in public a lot of the times.
Fuck Andrew Tate.
They don't do that dumb shit, right? They don't do that shit. Yeah. But women, on the other hand, feel it's completely okay to disrespect, even assault men at sometimes. So you know what? There needs to be like an invisible lady always there, where when a woman assaults a man or says some stupid shit, bong, she gets punched in the face by another female. And it's like a trained female that like puts it, actually jabs correctly and shit and hits her very hard. Why? So that she understands, damn, there's consequences to saying shit. I learned this early on with the Fresh Fit podcast. So as you guys know, if you watched the show from the beginning, right? Or earlier, we never used to have women in the back. And I noticed that women would disrespect us, not leave the premises when we told them to leave, act crazy, assault us, etc. Okay? All this crazy shit, right? The women would do. Why did they do that? Because they knew none of us would put a hand on them. However, once I started getting girls in the back, they stopped doing that shit. Why? Because they know if I act out, these bitches might fuck me up. That's what we need. We need that presence of potential violence on females for being super disrespectful.
Like a Ronda Rousey Spider-Man.
And think it's okay to assault men. Like, if you ask a majority of girls on the street, is it okay to push a guy or shove a guy if he pisses you off? They will tell you yes. Yeah. They will tell you it's okay to hit a man, blah, blah, blah.
Wait till you see the next 1 minute podcast is about feminism. Shit. Like, these women were saying like it's okay to cut up men and men should die.
Yeah. Bro, more women need to get punched in the face. I stand on that shit. I don't give a fuck what any of y'all say. They need to feel physical violence for doing stupid shit.
Not for me.
Not from us, of course. But that more women need to get punched in the face for being disrespectful. Then they'll stop doing that shit.
That'd be a great comic book if there was a Ronda Rousey type Spider-Man. Whatever. There's like a Batmobile, like a feminist, like a big.
There needs to be like a woman, right? Like a trained
who
female
can fly
fighter
around with the costume.
Yeah, that literally just comes in when the girl does dumb shit like that. Like, you suck, like just hit.
Yeah.
Just hit because you're being a fucking bitch for no reason. You're showing unreciprocated anger, frustration, and sometimes even
I was
violence
being polite. I was being nice.
To someone that did nothing to you. And I'm telling y'all, bro, guys, how many times have you? I've been on the street multiple times where I literally am witnessing a woman assaulting a man. No one does anything. No one says anything. People laugh at it. People automatically assume,
funny.
Oh, the guy probably did something wrong. He probably fucked up, blah, blah, blah. Bro, there needs to be a female superhero that can literally fly around and start uppercutting these hoes for saying
What about
shit.
a tranny? If it was Chris from Mr. Beast, then they wouldn't know how to say anything. It would debunk liberalism in multiple ways because then they would have to say that Chris from Mr. Beast is actually a man. But also that would justify the fact that if they were consistent with their beliefs, then Chris from Mr. Beast could knock out women when they're acting out of line.
Yeah.
And if they get upset about it, then sorry, it's equality. Bro, that's a woman.
More women need to get punched in the face, bro. Absolutely, more women need to get punched in the face. That's like not even the reason.
Why can't you do the Zerka? Like every time a woman's acting up, this is what I do. I identify as a woman. Boom.
Yeah. Like, again, I'm not and I want to make this very clear for all the haters out there. I'm not advocating for guys beating up on their girlfriends. I'm not advocating for violence against women. What I'm advocating is violence towards stupid women that brazenly disrespect and assault men when they never did anything to them. There's a big difference there. And I think a woman should do it, but a trained fighter female. Because obviously a dude is going to break her face. I don't want her face to get broken, but I think she needs to get chin checked by a female, like a Ronda Rousey, just like
chin checked by a chick.
By a chick. Because by a dude, it's gonna bro, she might die.
Flying Raptor says if more people got punched in the face like Snooki on Jersey Shore, it would humble them and create a better society. Yeah.
Everyone needs to get punched in the face. Females included.
A says I miss the days where accountability for women came in the form of stones. Yeah. Well.
Yeah, and here's the thing. right? If I said this in front of a bunch of people, a lot of them are gonna silently agree with me. Like, yeah, you know what, bro?
You're
yeah,
right. I mean, society did function better back in the day, like in the 50s, where there was a little slap that was necessary. I mean, in the Quran, it does say the final, like if your woman is acting up first, you need to tell her, and she keeps arguing. The final thing is a stick, and then it hits you. Like at the end of it, you're supposed to, if your woman keeps acting up, it's a little stick on the arm, and then so violence is the bottom line. Yeah. But when you exist in a society where that's never tolerated, that's how you get these women coming around.
They're acting crazy.
Yeah,
bro.
really
I literally have seen it on several occasions. I don't even think
I'm so used to it.
Beating on a man.
I'm so used to it.
Normal.
I don't think of it as crazy. I'm just like, oh, this is how women are.
Yeah.
I've just internalized it as normal now.
Yeah. No, man.
Mr. Martin says why women deserve less Chipotle. Yeah. Islamic scholars throughout history said it's possible that aliens exist. Okay, sure. But there was one more instance that happened. Another, what was it? So that party, I think there was one more. Oh yeah, a tranny just said, go fuck yourself on the podcast to me when I was just asking. I said, we just watched a woman podcast. I said, can transgenders can children have transgender surgeries? Like, I don't trust this, go fuck yourself, and gets up and leaves. Yeah. But that was a man as a woman, so now they get to be disrespectful.
Of course.
I think that was the only.
No, with them, they need to get punched in the face by a dude.
Yeah, but then it's like a hate crime or something. It's just not a good look for me.
Yeah,
I'm already like, it's just. That's why I got the bodyguard. Like, if anything happens, it's just like, let me just.
But yeah, I mean, I think everyone should get punched in the face for being out of line. But I think women need that equality too, especially from another female. Just fucking sock her for being a stupid bitch.
Or do you think? See, I think you're compromising a little bit. I think your real belief system is that society functioned better when husbands at the bottom line would hit their wife, even though it's domestic violence. But weren't women acting more in line? Actually, some women, like Leia Helpern, will talk about how, like, Sean Connery said in the 50s, like, oh, I slap women.
Oh yeah, that interview.
I slap women. Yeah. Like, that's why I think you're compromised. I think you actually believe that society would function better if husbands could discipline their wives the same way they discipline their children, because women do operate like children, and when children act out of line, you hit them. So, I mean, if you're able to slap your kid, then why? Which I don't agree with. But I think Myron is kind of.
Well, I'm speaking not in the confinements of a relationship. I'm talking about, like, when a woman just openly disrespects a man. I'm not talking about, like, because the man should be there checking her anyway, right? It shouldn't even have to get to that point. But I'm talking about, like, in your situation or in my situation where that guy wasn't with that girl. He might have been friend zone. I don't fucking know what he was, because they have a weird, like, body. Yeah,
probably wasn't a relationship. They were just friends,
maybe. But yeah, but like, either way, because he looked at me, he didn't even want to make eye contact. That's how I knew something was off. But either way, the point I'm trying to make is I'm talking about, like, when women are by themselves and they think it's okay to openly disrespect men that they don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that happened a couple times. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be way worse. But
like, and it's always the liberal blue hair chicks that be the loudest, the most obnoxious, and they say all this crazy shit. Like,
which is funny. Right before they got really upset and they called me a fucking asshole and all this stuff, they started screaming. They were having a conversation about OnlyFans, and they're like, "Why don't you do OnlyFans?" Because I have self-respect. Self-respect doesn't matter, boo. Get that money. And they're just talking about how, like, they should be making, like, how much money they can make and how they all want to do OnlyFans. And it's just like, whoa. So just everything always aligns.
In the next 20 to 30 years, we're going to see a surge in depressed and sad women, bro.
Yeah, I mean, there's more antidepressants than ever. I mean, they were all on antidepressants too.
Yeah, but it's going to be even worse, because here's the thing. They're kind of getting over it because they're still young and hot, so, like, they don't got to take as much antidepressants. But wait until they're 40 and 50.
Oof.
There was this chick. I did a podcast on this shit like a couple months ago. There's this girl that used to be a famous model back in, like, the 70s and 80s, and she dated, like, rock stars and shit like that. And now she's on Instagram crying. Like, every other post is her fucking crying. Saying that, like, I'm invisible now, blah, blah, blah. Complaining about, like, how society doesn't care about women once they get older, etc. All this other shit. She's, like, an advocate for that shit. Bro, think about this.
Think about this.
She, right, was, like, internationally known, model on covers, etc. Right? She was famous.
Right.
But nowadays, an average girl with an Instagram profile has that same level of fame through the internet. So this girl was famous back in her day, but now an average girl has the same amount of fame, if not more.
Right.
That's one bitch that's complaining and crying that she's invisible. Can you imagine in the next 30, 40 years what's going to happen?
I mean, look at Madonna.
Wait until the next 30 to 40 years, guys, and see what happens.
I mean, Madonna is like a good example of a celebrity who got high off of all the attention and fucked a bunch of guys for ages and ages. And then look at what she looks like now. Like, she literally looks like a gremlin. She looks like look at the amount of plastic surgery she has to do. And I'm not saying this to make fun of her, but it's just like, it's like, bro, like, this is brutal. She doesn't look like a human. What is this? This looks like a clay statue. It looks like a drawing of what someone thinks a human looks like.
I'm telling you,
what
bro,
happens.
in the next 30, 40 years, it's going to be even worse. Because we're only seeing the celebrities right now because they were famous back then and they had that same level of clout. Average girls are experiencing this now, bro. The next 30 to 40 years is going to be miserable for so many modern day women because they're used to getting bitches have their Venmo and Cash App in their fucking bios nowadays.
Yeah.
Regular girls that no one knows with 1,000 followers have their Venmo and Cash App in their fucking bios. Dude, we are cruising for a bruising in society in the next 30 years.
Did you watch Barbie yet?
No, but a lot of people are telling me I need to
you should watch it. Women expect now, they've never been lazier and they've also never been, they have the
more
same.
Entitled.
Yeah, they're entitled because they have the victim mindset. It's actually kind of similar to the way the black community is so victimized that they become entitled and think they deserve anything and that the white people are trash and all this stuff. It's kind of the same. Like when you have such a strong victim mentality, you become extremely entitled. Women just want to lay down, order Uber Eats and not do any work. And they think that average men should just give them money for existing.
Yeah.
Like and not even giving them sex, just for the fact that they are there. They want
think their
resources
presence,
from them. They think their presence deserves money.
I know
from
girls,
men.
bro, that make thousands of dollars a month off of just going on dates with guys. And the guy pays for dinner.
And they most of the time they're not even getting laid.
Yeah. The girls are literally going out, hanging out with them for dinner. The guy's paying them a couple $100, $1,000, whatever. Just to go. Can you imagine, bro, if you went out and you got paid just to eat food and the food was free?
At nice restaurants too.
At nice restaurants too.
And to get entertained. You don't even have to bring conversation because they have nothing to talk about.
Yeah, the guy is the one.
Talk. Yeah. So you get a free show and dinner. Well, not you get paid to go out for a show and dinner.
Now I want everybody in the chat to, all of you guys watching, tell me how much of a piece of shit you would be if you got invited to go eat at fancy restaurants for nothing more than the fact that you existed.
Right.
You wouldn't develop yourself. You wouldn't learn anything. You would think you're special. You would think you're God's gift to men. You would literally be a piece of shit. And that's why I try to tell guys, like, look at it from the female perspective, why women behave the way they do a lot of the times. It's our fault. The guys enable it. They're fucking simps. I hate simps.
Simps are probably going to equally burn in the hellfire.
Bro, they need to burn even more.
Let's keep watching this video. But that's the spiritual warfare that's happening.
Is downstream from theology. It always has been. Your political activity is governed by what you believe about God and his revelation to man. And there are two mistakes that people make when reacting to this fundamental truth. First, some will say that politics doesn't matter because only theology matters. But that's not true, because as we've covered, theology has huge practical effects on the political world, and therefore political action is very important. Second, some will say that politics matters far more than theology because theology is not practical enough. It's too pie in the sky, too ethereal. This idea is also deeply flawed. As Tucker has been saying, the political world will always be affected by the unseen spiritual forces behind the scenes. So the truth is this: we need both political and religious ideals to be rooted in Scripture if we are going to have a good society in the eyes of God. And what then is the overall solution to our current situation in the opinion of Tucker? Well, the answer to that can be found in a recent speech that he gave to the Heritage Foundation earlier this year. Watch this.
I'm just noting what's super obvious. Like, those of us who are in our mid-50s are caught in the past in the way that we think about this. One side's like, no,
For a white guy, he's aging pretty well, mid-50s.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually they age like milk.
I've got this idea, and we've got this idea, and let's have a debate about our ideas. They don't want a debate. Those ideas won't produce outcomes that any rational person would want under any circumstances. Those are manifestations of some larger force acting upon us. It's just so obvious. It's completely obvious. And I think two things. One, we should say that and stop engaging in these totally fraudulent debates where we are using the terms that we used in 1991 when I started at Heritage, as if maybe, I could just win the debate if I marshaled more facts. I've tried that, doesn't work. And two, maybe we should all take just like 10 minutes a day to say a prayer about it. I'm serious. Like, why not?
So the solution to this is twofold. First, stop thinking that it all comes down to debating the issues or presenting all the facts. Stop thinking that if you just presented all the facts in a clear, rational way, then we could solve the deepest problems that we have in the culture war. As Tucker says here, he's tried putting all the emphasis on having the facts, and it rarely works, if ever. Because these people we're up against don't care about facts. They care about worshiping themselves. In other words, this isn't a political persuasion. Radical leftism is a religion. In fact, it's a false religion. If you don't believe me, try debating the facts with an advocate of unaliving babies in the womb. Life begins at conception, you might say, when a new and unique genetic code is created. And you'd be correct. That's a fact. But guess how many people on the other side care? Virtually no one. Because they want to be God. They want to recreate the world in their image and be the arbiters of what is life and what is not. I want to take this life away, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. It's my right because I said so. That's what they'll say. Or try debating the facts with someone who's in favor of the trans agenda. There are only two sexes, two genders, male and female. This too is an undeniable fact, both biblically and scientifically. See Genesis 1:27.
But again, what Neil deGrasse Tyson said about gender fluidity?
What was that?
You saw what Neil deGrasse Tyson said about gender fluidity?
What did he say?
He said that gender is a spectrum and that some people could feel 80% male and 20% female.
Bunch of faggotry.
And again, he's like one of the #1 globetards. He believes in aliens. He's pushing all that. It all links up to the same belief system. Neil deGrasse, no, he's a black dude.
Oh, okay.
Again, you don't know Neil deGrasse Tyson, that science to the fucking fat black guy? Yo, you'd have a great debate with him. Bro, you know this dude.
Oh, okay.
No.
I've seen him on other podcasts.
He's been on Rogan quite a bit.
He's a liberal.
Oh yeah. He believes there's like 10 genders, but
they don't care. If I want to be a woman, they say, then I can be a woman because I identify that way, and it's my right. You know what? Because I said.
He advocated for the pandemic and wearing masks.
Yeah,
I remember now.
Yeah. Vaccines, like it's all always the same. Leftism just believes in the same.
Exact. Yeah. So. Do you see the circular reasoning being employed in both these situations? It's not a debate about the facts. It never has been. You need to get that out of your mind. This is fundamentally one religion that is true and another religion that is false. Don't let anyone fool you into thinking otherwise. And the sooner we figure this out as Christians, the more clear our thinking will be on these topics. And of course, lastly, Tucker encourages the audience to pray. In other words, acknowledge God's sovereignty and power and trust Him fully. See Psalm 9:10. So here's the point. Tucker is making a lot more sense than most people, even professing Christians. And frankly, the majority of modern pastors in this country are afraid to touch topics like this, either sitting on the fence or ignoring the issues entirely. Yep. And here we have Tucker Carlson, a political TV host, speaking the truth about what's really going on. So please, pray for Tucker Carlson and anyone else mentioned in the video. And pray for this channel. As always, check out the teaching...
Shout out to Fight for Truth. This is a great video. Really, this was only posted 10 hours ago and it's just blowing up compared to his channel. So yeah, I think I want to see more of his stuff.